Hello and welcome to Holistic Circle Podcast, Spiritual Conversation. My name is Philipp Kobald. We are reaching out to people who are passionate about spreading light, love, and joy. And I'm here from São Paulo in Brazil, Diana Mirs. Hello, Diana.
Hi, Philip. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure.
And of course, we see the rainforest coming right into your room. It's amazing.
I'm almost in wild nature, yes.
In my mind, I hear birds and everything. I'm already relaxing just watching your background.
Oh, that is what it is supposed to do, yes.
Okay, I'm very suggestible, so it works easy. Okay, we usually like to start my podcast with inviting my guest to make a small introduction, a couple of minutes. What is your background? What are you doing? So people get some first basic ideas before we start the conversation.
All right. My name is Diana Mirs, and I am a mind body connection coach and a meditation teacher. And in my work with clients, I usually help them to bridge the gap between emotional, mental, and physical experiences in order to create a greater well being and live their authentic and unending life. That is in a nutshell.
Okay, that was crisp. First of all, you're beside me, the first meditation teacher on the podcast. So there you go. Welcome, colleague.
Well, that's an honor. Thank you. Great to
Yes, but
be.
I had a good feeling right from the start. So you have the honor as first meditation teacher on the podcast. How many years have you been working as a teacher?
My journey began actually with the beginning of the pandemic, with the first lockdown. That is when I realized that I need to change something. So I've been a meditation teacher for almost 5 years, as well as a mind body connection coach.
Right. And it will be later very interesting and hot because we do disagree on a couple of small issues about meditation, but that we're going to go later when the fighting begins. I want to see
This
two
funny
meditation
part.
teacher fight. That will be fun.
Yeah.
But first of all, you have quite a interesting journey already. The way you came here, you've quite a traveling journey, an experience journey. So it's a bit out of the ordinary. Maybe you can give our viewers also a little bit of personal background, the last years where you've been, what you've seen, what you've traveled, so they can understand the groundwork before we go deeper into your actual spiritual work.
Certainly. Well, originally I come from Uzbekistan, a very beautiful country in Central Asia. I have been studying and living in Russia, and I graduated as a philosopher from a Moscow University Higher School of Economics. And after my bachelor's degree, I felt that Moscow, Russia, and my regular life there became too small for me. And I craved for something bigger, for discovering the world or connecting with something more than I had at that moment. So I just bought a one-way ticket to Colombia to participate in a professional project. And that is how my digital nomad journey began. 10 years ago it was, and I'm still on the road. Of course, my style of traveling changed a lot throughout the years, and I visited quite a few countries, but it is never enough. So at the moment, I'm in São Paulo. I'm here for the last half a year, and it's Brazil is one of my favorite countries in the world.
I guess not everybody here in our audience is familiar with Uzbekistan, and you said a beautiful country. And I'm also not the biggest expert. So just give us a couple of minutes. Tell us a bit very randomly about Uzbekistan. And then I might ask a question or two. Especially, we know there's also some spiritual history and tradition that goes way back, or like a folk tradition. I don't know if you ever looked into it. Just maybe just a couple of minutes, tell us about Uzbekistan landscape and things like that.
Sure. Well, Uzbekistan is still a very traditional country. It has been opening up the recent years to international tourism. The main religion there is Muslim, and a lot of natives from Uzbekistan are adepts of this religion. And I would say that the native people of Uzbekistan are very close to nature because I would say half of the country is right in the middle of the desert, another half has mountains and fresh nature. And what I can say about the culture, people are very warm, very helpful and supportive. And every time I come back, I feel such joy and at ease. And anyone who visits Uzbekistan, because I've met some travelers who have already been there, admit that they are always feeling welcome in the country. And I think that is just the magic of my motherland.
It's interesting because every time when I talk to people from that region, and I have the privilege quite regularly, and I'm so fascinated by old pre-Islamic voodoo stuff, so to say, all those healing people that used to exist and all the fire rituals and burning metals against bad spirits and all of these things that used to be present in that area. And I'm always so sad that it's quite as forgotten, quite a lot of that interesting that that this connection with these prehistoric spiritual ideas. Do you still see something? Do you still hear from old grandmothers stories about spells and where some little devils are living on the field? Is this still alive, or this is just basically has passed on mainly?
I would say in small villages or maybe small towns of Uzbekistan, it is still alive, and especially as you mentioned, among older generation that try to pass it to younger ones. But I would say, especially in the capital and among the young generation and middle age class, I would say that people are more, I think, in more globally nowadays, right? So they are probably losing touch with the roots of the spirituality that existed previously. And I would say, I cannot say whether it's bad or good. It is just how it is. It is a natural process as I see it, that development, globalization that happens in many countries nowadays, actually.
Absolutely. I just had a beautiful podcast with a woman from Uganda, and there's totally non-spiritual. The country is capitalistically booming, and so I guess if you go to some European festival, you can go for African dance and you can talk to African medicine man in the middle of Europe. But in Uganda, no way, no how. so, so we are
Yeah, that's very
definitely
curious.
all right. Okay. Another very important step, I think, if I remember correctly, you've been to Thailand and you had a very unique experience. So let's also cover through this and then we can move on.
Certainly. Well, when I decided to explore Southeast Asia, where I haven't been before at that moment, I was looking for some special opportunities, maybe to connect with the traditions or culture, not just to be a tourist and explore the country in a regular way. So I found an volunteer internship to live in a meditation center with nuns and monks. And it was one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. I was living with them for a few weeks, learning their meditation styles, a lot about Buddhist culture and religion, helping them around the meditation center. And I could have never imagined that it was possible to be so close in such a close contact with real monks and learn from them. But now it is a part of who I am, of my experience. I'm forever grateful for that. And I'm still keeping in touch with the main, let's say, main nun who funded this meditation center. I consider her my spiritual mom, as I can say that. Yes, this is what also helped me deeper my meditation practice and start doing it in a more professional way back then.
All right. Now, if we're there, then let's be there. Let's talk a little bit about quite technically about the technical side of meditation. If we can spend a couple of minutes, if we said the more deep on your professional side of meditation, what would you mean by that? Or what are your principles? Or what are you interested in? Or so what's driving you around the technical side of meditation before we go further?
Mhm. Well, I should also probably mention that now at this moment, I am enrolled in a year-long program with Mingyur Rinpoche. He is also a Buddhist monk. And that is where I also deepening my knowledge and practice, mostly related to the Buddhist type of meditation. And what attracted me the most about Buddhism in general, that it is not considered as a strict religion, but rather I perceive it as probably mindset about life in general. And about a Buddhist meditation, I would say the key moment that helped me to deepen my practice and that I see helps even the beginners is that they see that everything is already within us. All of the qualities that we want to develop, everything that we want to achieve, or any state that we want to be in is already within us. And the main thing that we need to do is just to uncover it. And another powerful practice is a Vipassana meditation, when you just sit in stillness, connecting with yourself, not concentrating on anything, but just being. That is how you can truly recognize your essence and quieten the noise around you. That is what Buddhist meditation is for me at this moment. Of course, beautiful chanting that help you to even physically and mentally arrive in the present moment and make your practice more joyful and pure, I would say. But for regular meditators, chanting is not that crucial to practice, I would say.
I always chant. I think it helps a lot for students.
All right. Yeah, definitely. Sometimes I am craving to listen to Buddhist monks chanting, especially from Thailand, from that tradition. And yeah, I
Because
can't wait to go back and experience it again and again.
it has so many practical implications and it makes it much easier for students for a lot of reasons. A bit of chanting is always helps. So, but I wanted to ask you the most probably hard question in the world. Why did you all start to meditate? What were you looking for? What were you hoping for? What did you imagine meditation will bring you when nobody ever just wakes up one morning and says, I start to meditate? Or maybe you did. So, what was your hopes and dream, or what you hope to gain from meditation, you personally?
Thank you so much for this question. I think that I skipped it. My meditation practice personally began when I was a teenager in high school. And it all started with the movie The Secret, if you have heard of that. And that is a, let's say, very popular movie in the sense that they just generally cover a lot of topics. But it caught my interest, and I was thinking, okay, maybe I can try something like that. And my main focus back then was on working with the energy inside my body, visualizing my body as a part of the universe, however it may sound, and doing kind of a healing body scan. And back then I was just thinking that, all right, if it doesn't work, I'm not sure what I'm doing, whether I'm doing correctly or not, because there was no teacher, no mentor that I could ask for advice. So I was just experimenting. But a few months later, I remember when we were having a general checkup at school, I was asked whether I had any health issues or concerns. And I realized that, oh, wow, I didn't even have a headache in the last 3 or 4 months, not even speaking about anything more serious. And I thought, wow, that probably is the result of that kind of visualization that I was practicing every night. So that is when I realized my mind is so powerful then. And this kind of meditation that I was doing really has some sort of result. And only a few years later, with the help of the internet development and the access of information, I could discover many other types of meditation that it is not the strict direction, and started to experiment more and more. So that is how it all began for me with the Secret movie. And one of the contributors to this movie, Joe Dispenza, is still one of my, I wouldn't say idols, probably, but I really look up to him because he he holds experiments that scientifically prove the effectiveness of meditation and elevated states of emotion. So, as in my work, I try to blend spiritual approaches with a scientific or neuroscience background that all blends perfectly in his work for me.
We'll come to that in a moment because I would like to ask you the same question all over again. What now, today? What are your hopes and dreams? How far you want to go? You want to find enlightenment? You want to find the total calmness? What did you set yourself some goals where you want to be in 20 years as meditation person?
That's such a deep question. Like, give me a moment to think about that. I would say my main goal, whether it sounds very selfish, but just to be happy and as would say free of suffering. So I probably do not follow any. I would say I do not restrict myself following only one goal or practicing only one type of meditation or anything that I want to achieve meditating. But my mission also that applies not only for my coaching work, but also for my life is to live in a compassionate and interconnected society. And I believe we can do it all together by living authentically, by knowing ourselves, by being connected to ourselves. And again, by being happy, because happiness creates more happiness. Gratitude creates more gratitude, I think, to be grateful for.
You almost brought me to the next question by yourself, because the question would be, do you see this meditation as a narcissistic or egoistic kind of a practice? Or how would you see this? There's the perception of the dance of the sword, that when you are enlightened and once with the universe, everything is good or bad has its place, and there is no good or no bad. So somebody is drowning in front of you. If you help him, maybe he become a mass murderer. So if you let him drown, he's part of the nature. All of these thoughts about once you reach that tranquility and that peace, that you're not anymore engaged. Did you ever come across these moments where you thought you're not, through deep meditation, like almost not really part anymore of this planet and not anymore part of the human race, or you so far always felt more connected and not disconnected?
Mhm. Right. Well, thanks a lot for explaining it a little bit already inside of your question by giving examples. Well, I met some people, or let's say some small communities, where I felt that they were probably, as you're using this word, more enlightened than others and than myself. I believe it is their own choice, their preference, that is what suits them best. And that's great if it makes them happy. Particularly, I hope I will not offend anyone by saying that, but I saw a lot of these kind of people in Koh Phangan Island in Thailand. Right. And it was a very curious experience also to communicate with them and to see how they view the world and so on. Speaking about myself, I do not think that anyone in the world can become enlightened. Even Buddha probably was not enlightened. I'm so sorry for saying that, but he was a human being, right? And if to say whether meditation practice is egoistic,
Let me ask it more simple.
yeah.
Have you come across the phenomena that maybe meditation has a path that can lead to egoism versus a path that can
Hmm.
lead to true connection? Have you come across that phenomena?
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Now I understand it clearly. Definitely. There are these two ways, and I'm sure there are some others. Um, Meditation is just a tool. And it depends on you, on each person, how you use it, what you want to achieve, how you want to feel, where and how far you want to go. Right. In my practice and life experience, I haven't met many people who were choosing the first path that you mentioned, but rather using meditation as a tool to improve the quality of life or deepening the connection first with yourself and understanding yourself. And this self understanding and groundedness in one will create connectedness with others. So that is how I believe we can create a more interconnected society by working with ourselves. And it is not the only way, of course, to build such a society that I would personally love to live in. But again, it is a tool, one of the tools to achieve it.
All right. Okay. Now let's go to your field of expertise, more or less the bit of like the health benefits or the benefits of meditation. If anybody watches this podcast and never meditated before, was probably quite bored already because they would like to know what is it good for or what does it bring me and what are these guys talking about. So,
Mhm.
and especially when you're talking about modern science and how we know more about the effectiveness of meditation, we can now jump to that era. And you can a little bit tell us about what we know about meditation and how does it actually work and why does it have benefits.
Mhm. Certainly. I'm sure that meditation is often viewed as a very and only probably spiritual practice where you can connect with something greater than yourself or only work with the energy and so on. But on the other hand, it can also be used as a tool again to lower the levels of stress that you're experiencing in your life or to overcome anxiety because nowadays stress and anxiety are probably the main issues of the modern society, unfortunately, but it is our reality and that is what we have to work with. Right. Scientifically speaking, there was a lot of research on this topic. Meditation, even a simple practice of sitting quietly for just 5 minutes, lowers your cortisol levels, which regulates your blood pressure and improves the quality of your sleep, for example, that will help you to make more clear decisions and to raise your stress threshold. So many great benefits that Andrew Huberman, for example, talked in some of his episodes. And this is what makes meditation very accessible and uh, to most people, rather you want to follow the spiritual path or just improve the quality of your life and general health and well-being. You can use, you can choose the type of meditation that suits you best, practice where it suits you best, following your preferences. And I'm sure that with a constant practice, which doesn't have to be long, you will see definitely the benefits and positive effects of it in your experience.
So, would you say, if you a little bit put it left or right, would you personally say that you're aiming for the spiritual side of meditation or that you're mainly interested in the health benefits for you personally at this moment?
Mhm. At this moment, I would say I am focusing personally on the health and mental benefits of meditation. Right. And speaking about my professional work, it depends on the client and their preferences. But generally speaking, I try to balance these both to combine and follow the holistic approach to combine the spirituality, if it suits you, and then also the physical technique that we can use in the meditation practice.
It always sounds very obvious because you always say like this there is that spiritual thing and you can do it if you want to. But uh, it It's like it's there. If you have to go there,
Right, let's a accurate note.
be aware. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Just let's start. Are you doing groups? Are you doing one-on-ones? Is it online? Is it live? How do you work as a teacher?
Right. As a digital nomad, I mostly work online and I work with the clients one on one, hosting the coaching sessions. Speaking also of my online work on Insight Timer, the main platform where I upload my guided meditations. I also host live events. So it's a group event with maybe hundreds of participants at a time. But when I have a chance, when I spend a few weeks or months in one place, such as in Brazil, I love and it's so joyful to host group events. For example, the last week I spent a few days in Rio de Janeiro. I was invited to guide the mind body connection meditation for digital nomads. And it was such a beautiful experience to connect, first of all, with the community that I'm very close to and to practice all together, creating this physical space that we were in. So it's a blend, but mostly I'm focusing on online work.
That's very interesting because I've never actually made an online meditation session, and I'm always curious to do one day because I've so far never tried.
Oh,
So
you're very
as a,
welcome. I'll be happy to connect this way with you too.
I don't know, it's an interesting thing because I had groups for many years, but always live and build centers and this and that. So this is the only way I understand to do something when you can watch them breathe and you can really hold the space. So having this for internet, I'm still not convinced, but I'm getting
Mhm.
there. I'm getting there.
Yeah, of course. And it may or may not work for you. And that's completely fine.
All right. Okay. So mind body connection. That's something that I think a lot of people would like to know more about. Can you tell us what it is, how you see it? How does it work for you under your for your understanding?
Mhm. Well, I would just want to highlight that I find mind body connection, all of these beautiful parts of art crucial in modern world because understanding ourselves, all the different parts of us, will create a solid foundation for any change that you want to happen in your life. So when all the outer noise that's happening at the moment, with all of the information that we are bombarding every single day, online notifications, social media, news, TV, so easy just to get caught up in the outer life without actually knowing yourself. And what can help you more to live a life that you truly want to build rather than knowing who you are. So that is where mind body connection comes essential from my perspective.
So this is like a grounding exercise and also opening of spaces exercise in the same time, like almost like a yin yang activity or like a kundalini activity. That's how you see it.
Partly, I would say, right. So mind body connection coaching in my experience combines all of the different practices to work with the body, such as breath work or somatic movement. With the mind, it can be meditation or a pure coach in itself when we are working with a vision of life and so on. And again, there can be some spiritual practices as well. But first of all, right, the most important is to arrive in your body to know what works best for you. And from that point, you will be able to grow and expand, as you mentioned. Right.
Right. So for you, most important is building a center, being a strong center, and feeling the body as intensive and strong as real as possible. That's for you the number one before everything else.
Yes, certainly, because I strongly believe that our intuition, however we may understand this word and whatever it can mean for us, lives in our body. And when we can understand the signals of our body better, that is how we can access the intuition. And there is nothing more pure and truthful in the world rather than your own intuition. No other outer voices, mentors, idols that you might follow. It is only you who know for sure what is right or wrong for you in your life.
That's for sure. And I guess that a lot of people need this kind of a service. What are your regular, you have clients also or people you work with? Where are they from? They're worldwide as a digital nomad and they come with anxiety, stress, or the regular things, or what is your group mainly looking
Mhm.
for?
Well, I'm working in two languages, English and Russian. So that is why I have a wide audience with whom I'm working. English speaking audience is mainly coming from the USA and probably European countries. The Russian speaking audience is mainly from Russia. But demographically speaking, these are higher middle class entrepreneurs who are on their who start or who continue to improve their well-being. And they come to me with various requests, either just overcoming anxiety and lowering stress levels in their lives, or it can be figuring out their life in general, what career path they want to switch to, for example, or perhaps mm, the relationship problems that they are experiencing at the moment. And for any of these requests, the base is the mind body connection that we start working with.
I'm very curious now, so I must ask you, do you see some major differences to like people from America and so on have their regular problems versus people from like Russia? They have other issues or problems right now, or you think it's a worldwide phenomena? The problems are all the same, no, or you see that different focuses in different parts of the world?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a really good question. Thank you. And not even speaking from my professional experience, but also life experience as a digital nomad, all of the people from majority of the countries are the same, and we are going through the same life experiences or having the same struggles and want to achieve a similar thing. So there is almost no difference between English or Russian speaking clients that I'm working with.
Course, beside the society things, more family orientated or less family orientated, more consumerism, less consumerism. But this is just basically on the first level. The deeper questions, the deeper drive, that's like the same for everybody. That's, I guess, how you see it.
Yeah, certainly it is.
That's interesting, I guess, or a very positive notion for our podcast.
Mhm. Yeah, and I see it as a very beautiful thing because no matter whether we speak the same language or I, as a digital nomad, go to a country that I have no idea how to speak Thai, for example, or any other language, there are ways to connect with the locals to be understood, even without speaking the same language or having the same background. Yeah, that's all about just being a human being.
Do you think that this mind body connection that you do is like an asset when you say you go to Thailand, you don't speak a language, you don't know anybody there, but maybe because you're more within yourself, do you think you're better traveler, you better can be here and therefore better connect? Do you think that this is part of it or it's just your personality and curiosity or just luck?
Mm, curious. Well, absolutely. I'm pretty sure that me being better and deeper connected with myself throughout these years really helped me to continue being a digital nomad and traveling and having the life experiences that I am having in this moment. Because previously, for example, I was struggling a lot with chaos in my life and I wanted even to give up the digital nomad lifestyle because I was so lost and no matter where I was going, it wasn't feeling right until I decided to take care of it, basically. For example, having a stable morning and evening routine really support me a lot. And these are one of a few pillars that really help me to feel grounded wherever I am and however I feel at the moment. And of course, as I mentioned previously, being connected to myself helps me to be more probably compassionate and empathetic toward others because I can imagine their experiences or what are they going through and to find the points of contact that we all have.
I noticed this so many times with traveling, right? So many people maybe physically move, but mentally they stay back home. Is it through their mobile phones or whatnot? Or like always, oh, at home we have running water or whatever. So it's they're always comparing. So their mind basically stays in their house, just their body is moving, and that's it. While some people manage to be just here and now, wherever they are, and they open their eyes and they see the people around for real. And that usually helps a lot with traveling.
Yeah, I would say there are these two types of travelers, I would say. There are very few of them among digital nomads, but the people who are mentally still in their home country. And I see a lot of examples of this, unfortunately, from my perspective, in many countries. And to me, it doesn't make any sense because if you're going to another country, crossing the globe, flying to another continent, why not to experience something new? And one of the ways to do that is to just accept what is, no matter how difficult your experience may be, no matter whether you agree or disagree with your lifestyle, the way of thinking, their habits, and their cultural moments. Just stay curious, open minded, and you will notice and you will learn a lot, not only about the world, but also about yourself. But if we are staying in this cell that we bring with ourselves from back from home, it probably will not enrich you in any way. Yeah.
We're slowly coming towards the end of the podcast, so we promised the audience a fight. So let's fight.
Okay, let's start.
Because in our pre-conversation, we had a bit of an argument, so to say, because I asked you the difference, because there's a lot of theory in meditation that meditation is the complete opposite of any tantristic work. If you remember, there is
Mhm.
this a lot of theoretical talking that if you practice meditation, that you're losing the ability to be part of any kind of tantristic practice. And I think you and me disagree a bit on that element.
Yeah, as I already mentioned previously, for me, meditation can be used just as the well-being tool, right? As working strictly with your mind or your body. It doesn't have to be anything spiritual. Yes, it can be something very, very practical, especially it works for the people who are with pragmatic mind. Yeah. So for me, meditation has many different ways to be practiced, and it shouldn't be, I would say, or I would like it not to be restricted by any frame.
I have to say it's like
Yeah, please.
using it's like using a tennis racket to take spaghetti.
Oh no. Okay, please elaborate on that.
No, it's I'm with you. It's just the thing that people like me are so jealous because honestly, when you follow this strict a Zen approach of meditation, you really lose the ability of tantristic experiences. It's not a joke. When you're 30
Mhm.
years you try, then you just don't have it anymore, right? So be jealous, that's all.
Yeah, I totally understand what you mean. That's great the way that you're doing that. I'm sure you have also great audience and clients whom it serve a lot. And it's a great way to conserve the vision and practice of meditation. So I just want to thank you for that.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm sitting 30 years for what? If you just take some ayahuasca and have, I'm not sure if I made a good choice.
Please say, all right.
No, but joke aside, for me, for my personal path, that's why I started podcasting, because after teaching all of it, I reached a point where I really thought that this here, what I'm doing now, holding the space for a lot of people, talking about spirituality, this and so on, this is something I can contribute, and building in other groups and going through this one more time. It's always good to give yourself a break and start something
Mhm.
new and start something fresh. But my passion over the last 10 years is to really, I adore working with absolute beginners. That's always what makes my smile. If I get somebody who the first time in their life meditate and to do it with me, this is my dream scenario. I don't like to work
Yeah.
with advanced people. I cannot stand it. But getting somebody fresh and pushing them maybe in the right direction, opening the space for them, that has been my passion over the last years.
Mhm. Sounds great. Yeah.
All right, last subject, because that's always the main subject for us meditation guys, breathing.
Mhm.
We cannot have a meditation conversation and not talk about breathing. What does it mean to you? How are you also obsessed about it? How are you also crazy about breathing?
Yeah, you're right. Definitely. Breathing is a big part of meditation process. And it is one of the ways to arrive in the present moment. And it is accessible to everyone because we all know how to breathe. And all we have to do is just to rest our attention on this natural process. Of course, there can be some alliterations. We can add some breathing exercises. And I'm also using breath work as a part of my coaching, so it can go a long way, but generally speaking, being with the breath, being grateful for your breath, sensing the breath in your body, so many ways to work with that, even in the meditation practice.
Are you using energy spins, energy circles? Are you bouncing energies? Do you do that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it can also be applied, certainly,
Are you using it for meditation as a meditation tool or just on the side?
as a meditation tool, yes. Mhm.
I think it's always very effective for people.
Mhm.
All right,
Yeah.
great. I think we've covered most of it, right? So everybody
Which
now who is up for meditation, come to Brazil and have a beautiful workshop, right?
certainly I will be very happy to work in person or connect online.
And you do the guided meditation on the platform. That's huge, right? This is something that's working for you very well. You are satisfied with the program, the platform, and your guided meditation. This is something that works for you.
Do you mean the Insight Timer?
Yeah.
Yeah, Insight Timer is the biggest application nowadays for all the types of meditation and mindfulness practices. And it is continuing to grow during the past 10 years. I am a big fan of it myself, using and listening to meditations, connecting with other teachers. And of course, being having the opportunity and in order to teach there myself and hosting live events is brings me a lot of joy. And especially because just being able to connect with the community that I deeply resonate with. So you guys also are very welcome to join my lives and to listen to the meditations and courses that I offer on the platform.
I'm going to put all your links and information down here. So people, just down here, you find all links and information how you can connect with Diana. Is there something I've missed with my crazy questions? Have we covered it? Or something else you would like to share? Or we basically covered the ground?
Yeah, I'm sure that we have touched so many moments and the time flew so quickly. Thank you so much for this smooth conversation and also sharing your perspective on something.
And we gave the audience a fight. So there you go. It's perfect television.
Good job.
I mean, that's as much as fight as two meditation teacher can offer.
Oh, that was enjoyable. Let us know, guys, who you support in the comments.
I hope not me. Diana, thank you so very much for coming. And I've been so relaxed enjoying your green background. It was a wonderful 45 minutes for myself. Thank you so very much, Diana.
Thank you, Philip, for the invitation. It was great to talk to you and wishing you all the best.
Thank you.